Hi guys. Abraham Lincoln once said that his best friend is a person who gave him a book that he never read. That is why I want to tell you about the book I read, and this is The Fall of Giants, written by Ken Follett. Um, this book is a trilogy, and the first one starts in 1911. The world powers live their last carefree moments from the coal mining pits to the bedrooms of the mighty. It takes you from Berlin to Vienna, from Paris to Washington, from London to St. Petersburg. And it's a magnificent epic filled with passion, adventure, and suspense. Ken Follett is a British writer, #1 bestseller rated by New York Times. He was born in Cardiff, Wales. He is the son of the tax inspector and a housewife. He always saying that he was from the poor family, and not only poor but strictly religious. So he was banned to watch any TV, and the only books he read was from the library. He's saying that without free books, he would never be the person he is right now. He finished university in London, and shortly after graduation, he got married and become a very happy but a very young father. So struggling with his bills, he wrote the first bestseller of his, The Eye of the Needle, that brought him money, and he became world famous. Right after that, Ken Follett wrapped up all his work as a journalist and began to work strictly on his books. He usually writes in a genre historical fiction. Historical fiction, by definition of Wikipedia, is a story with a setting usually where the setting is usually real and drawn from history and often contains actual historical individuals, but the main characters tend to be fictional. I like the definition made by Ken Follett, and he's saying that historical fiction, in his opinion, is a history through the eyes of ordinary people. In 2010, on the National Book Festival, he said that he doesn't want to take any liberties with history, what happened in battlefields and parliaments. That is why after he writes his book, he hires professors, and they, usually it's not a one, but 8, 10 of them, who read and correct manuscript. So when you read it, there should be no any historical mistakes. Fall of Giants describe the events which took place of 20th century. When I'm saying fall of giants, it's literally fall of giants. Giants referring to empires: British Empire, Russian Empire, Austro-Hungarian empires. The 3 main points that Ken Follett described himself, and I agree totally with him, it's World War I, Russian Revolution, and women's suffrage. When World War I started in 1914 and lasted 4 years. What I like about the book is that it's not a historical book, it's a novel. So he introduced us to 5 families, and I don't know if I mentioned before, it's 1 American, 2 British, 1 German, and 1 Russian, and they interact with each other. And through their interaction, Ken Follett tells about the history. So a little bit about World War I. It was called Great War before the World War II, and it lasted 4 long, bloody years. More than 9 million people died, and only because of assassination of 1 person. So it says that the reason was stupid, and people should have not died, but because of the games of powers that happened. So you can actually feel why it happened reading this book. Russian Revolution, it's a collective term for series of revolution, and that started in 1917, and it destroyed Tsarist autocracy and led to creation of Soviet Union and world famous Bolshevik regime. Women's suffrage, which was famous for its fighting for the women's rights, started right after World War I, because a lot of men were coming back from the war, and women would have to go back and do what they did before. And they were not agree with this, so the economical and political reform movement, I completely lost here, disregard all things I said. So women's suffrage is a right of women to vote and run for the office. This expression also used for the economical and political reforms. Okay, I'm gonna work on this. So, to sum up, Ken Follett reveals the effect of World War I on the lives of selected people from different countries and strata of society. He says his book is about love, espionage, revolution, and fight for women's rights. And I want to sum up by saying what Salinger once said, and he said that what really knocks him out is the book that after you finish reading it you want to call the author of the book and talk to him about the book. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that often.